Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video on the channel. In this video we will be talking about the newest Daredevil episodes that have come out recently, episode 5 and episode 6. I just briefly wanted to talk about these episodes and how I felt about both of them, and yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And so last time, I did a video on episode 4 talking about that episode, and I think in that video I felt, after like posting it and like thinking about it, I felt like I was like, I don't want to say too negative on the episode, or like, I don't know, just like the 4 episodes that we had gotten so far. I was like, I'm enjoying this show so far, but like I'm not like in love with this show yet. Like I'm not like in love with the show like I was in love with like the Netflix Daredevil show. And so it was kind of like a conflict of like, I'm enjoying this show, but I'm not really enjoying as much as the Netflix show. And to me, I didn't know if that was necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. And so watching episode 5 and episode 6 really put me in a different headspace, because I'm starting to realize, like, you know, this was never going to be, you know, a one-to-one like the Netflix show. Like the Netflix show just had like a certain tone and vibe to it that like this show just is kind of trying to do, but at some points is kind of just like it's kind of like an MCU version of it, I guess. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, I don't think. It's just I was just so used to Daredevil, or the original show, being a certain way, that watching this show sometimes and watching some scenes, I'm just like, I was like, okay, but they wouldn't do that in the original show. They wouldn't do that in the original show. So why are you doing? And so like I kind of had to get out of that, like that headspace, and just like, you know, be like, okay, this is how this show is, and I gotta accept that, and take it for what it is. And so I watched the episode 5 and episode 6, and I was like, I enjoyed these episodes. Episode 5 is more of a contained episode. The whole episode is basically in a bank. Like the whole episode just is dealing with these bank robbers and them robbing the bank, and Matt interfering, basically. And I thought this episode was pretty good. It's not like my favorite episode, but I thought it was pretty cool. In this episode, though, Matt actually meets Miss Marvel's dad in this episode, and so like I thought their like interactions with each other were like kind of cute and wholesome, and like the back and forth they had, I thought it was cool. But like just the episode itself deals with like these bank robbers robbing this bank, and Matt obviously gets involved because, you know, he's a good guy, he's a vigilante, so like obviously he's gonna get involved. And so there is some parts where like it's funny, because there is some parts where like Matt obviously, you know, he's blind obviously, but like he can obviously fight, and like he can use like his different senses to see. And so like we don't really like he is blind, but we don't really think about it because he's doing all like these cool flips and tricks, and like he's taking out these bad guys. And so there are some parts where like he plays up like the whole like innocent blind person, and I thought some of those moments were kind of funny. But no, dealing with the actual bank robbery, Matt is obviously, he comes back to the bank after, you know, he's done talking to, you know, Matt or Miss Marvel's dad. He leaves the bank, and then he realizes, using his hearing, he realizes that he realizes that the bank is getting robbed. So he comes back. He's playing up like the whole innocent blind person. He gets involved with these bank robbers, and yeah, just the whole episode is him kind of just like trying to handle this situation without being able to like suit up as Daredevil. And so like he's, you know, listening to people's heartbeats. He's freaking. It's like one point where to open the vault door, because like the robbers are trying to find like this it's like this kind of like yellow gemstone, I guess, which I guess they're trying to use to pay off Wilson Fisk for like the 1.8 million dollars for the hijacking or something like that. And so Matt uses his hearing to like crack the vault door, and I thought moments like that were pretty cool. There was also some moments where like Daredevil, or not Daredevil, well, Matt, beats up some of the robbers too. I think in the last couple of minutes of this episode, one of the I guess like the leader of the robbers gets or tries to get away, but Matt follows him. He uses one of the ski mask, and he uses like his cane as kind of like billy clubs, or like I guess like his I forget what you call them, but like he uses them to beat up this bank robber, and it's a pretty cool scene, and I thought it was like super cool. He freaking breaks his leg, which I thought was like, oh my god, like freaking Jesus. So I thought that episode was pretty cool. All right, so getting into episode 6, I thought this episode was pretty good, just like the last episode. This might be my favorite episode so far out of all the episodes. I would say mainly because, I mean, we obviously get to see Daredevil, or we obviously get to see Matt suit up as Daredevil again in this episode, which I thought was pretty cool to see him in the suit again, freaking beating up freaking criminals again. But no, this episode mainly deals with Muse, which is like one of the villains in this. Well, I guess he's one of the main villains in this episode, or I guess season, besides Wilson Fisk, I guess. But his character I thought was like super like interesting and like fascinating and weird. Like his whole like thing is that like he uses the blood of his victims to paint, or he uses the blood of his victims as like paint to paint like murals on like the side of like buildings and stuff like that. And so like I thought that was like super weird and fascinating. But yeah, this whole episode just basically deals with that villain and how he's basically terrorizing the city. They talk about how like he's like killing a bunch of people, and like he's a problem. And this episode is really just I want to say I don't know if the word or catalyst, is that the right word to use? But no, this whole episode is basically just like a catalyst of like Matt realizing that like the law, like the cops, like it's just not enough. Like he realizes that like, hey, I gotta be Daredevil again. Like I have to become a vigilante again. I have to put on the suit again. And he does. He puts on the suit again. Mainly he puts on the suit because I can't remember her name, but it's she's White Tiger's niece. And through this episode, she basically comes to Matt for help. And at this point in the episode, Matt is still kind of like going back and forth between like whether he should, be out there helping, like being like Daredevil, or should he like leave it up to the law. And so at this point, he's not really sure if he should help, like, be, in like being a vigilante in helping. And so she kind of takes it upon herself to find Muse herself, which I thought was kind of like, all right, well, this is kind of stupid. I guess she kind of did it because she maybe knew that if she got kidnapped, then like Matt would probably come and find her. And so she gets kidnapped by Muse, and that's kind of just like the breaking point for Matt. Like he realizes that like, okay, I got to become Daredevil again. I have to put on the suit again. And seeing him in the suit again, I gotta say, was pretty cool. Like seeing him fight Muse, him freaking like oh bro, there was like some moments where like he would like use like his billy club to like bro, there was just so many cool moments in that fight scene. Like just seeing Matt like freaking box criminals again was like so cool to see. Like obviously like his whole thing is that like he's like a hand-to-hand like style like combat, like he's a freaking like boxer type like fighter. And so seeing him like fight Muse was really cool to see. What we also saw in this episode was Wilson Fisk kind of like putting like a task force together of like the corrupted, kind of like there's like the corrupted Punisher wannabe cops basically, and he puts together this task force of cops because he believes that like he basically wants to get rid of vigilantes, because he sees, I guess, like Muse as like kind of like a, not like a vigilante, but like he sees, because you know Muse wears like a mask, and so like he kind of uses it as like an excuse to say, oh, a Muse is wearing a mask, vigilantes wear a mask, and so like they're see, so he kind of lumps them together, and so like he puts together this task force to take out people like Daredevil and the Punisher, and stuff like that. And so I thought that was cool, I guess. I know the Punisher is probably gonna end up back in one of the later episodes, and so it's gonna be really cool to see the Punisher and Daredevil like working together to take out these freaking corrupted wannabe Punisher cops, or whatever you want to call them. And so I also forgot to say that like while Matt is fighting Muse, freaking Wilson Fisk like comes down, because the whole thing is that like Vanessa, she like, while like Fisk was gone or like whatever, she got with this like this other dude, and so like she was basically having an affair with like this other guy, and so obviously Vanessa tells Wilson, and he finds out, and so throughout the whole couple of episodes we're thinking to ourselves like, what did he like do to like this guy that she cheated with. And then I think in like episode like 4, I think we realized that like he's basically keeping him down in like this basement in like a cellar. And so in this episode he comes back to that basement, and he has like an axe, and he basically gives the axe to like the guy, I forget his name, and he's like, I guess the whole thing is that like he wants him to try to kill him or something like that. I don't know, like basically he kind of gets this guy to like he kind of gets this guy to fight him so he can like beat on him, I guess, or like whatever. And so like throughout Muse and Daredevil fighting, we cut back to Wilson Fisk and Vanessa's ex-lover fighting too. And so I just like them cutting back and forth between those two moments was kind of like a I don't know if like it was kind of just like seeing both of these characters, Daredevil and Wilson Fisk. It was kind of like a thing of like them reverting back to like how they were. Like Matt is always gonna be like a vigilante, and Wilson Fisk is always gonna be like a angry mob boss basically. And I thought that was them just cutting back between those two scenes, I thought was really cool. And so yeah, that was basically it for this episode. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought seeing Matt in the Daredevil costume was pretty cool too. And so yeah, man, yeah, episode 5 and episode 6 I enjoyed pretty much. And so like hopefully the next couple of episodes can be just as good. And so yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Tell me in the comments down below what you thought of episode 5 and episode 6 of Daredevil. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one. So yeah, bye.